Anthony Spencer did his famous stuff, at least around here at Bishop Luers. Football, all-state selection, state champion. Played it hard, played it well. Took it on to Purdue, did the same thing there. Played it hard, played it well, linebacker. And I don't know if you remember this. Remember I was in your living room draft night?
Yes.
I do. Boy, was that place crowded. And boy, was that living room hot. And I remember well because the photographer I had that night was my son. And we were all wondering, when is he going to go? When is he going to go? When is he going to go? And all of a sudden the phone rings and Anthony disappears into a bedroom. And if you've ever watched the NFL draft, it's kind of like delayed from the time the call is made until you see it on TV. And out he came. Is it a cowboy hat or cowboy gear? Yeah, I thought so. And he came out with that, and everybody's the delay. They couldn't figure it out. And out he was, and the party was on. And what a wonderful night that was for you and your family, and I was glad to be a part of it. You have had some good things for you, sir. First round pick of the Cowboys, as we said, and pretty good go with them. 9 great seasons, and made things happen. He made the Fort proud of him with the way he played and the way he conducted himself, and he just was a lot of fun to watch, and from what I understand, a pretty darn good teammate. He will be introduced by his grandfather, J.C. Lapsley.
You're up, sir. You're up. He's stiff sitting. I just want to say thank you guys. It's an honor to be here tonight. And I'm one of those last minute calls. I grew up in Fort Wayne. And I know the athletics. I know how much we want to be where you guys are tonight. I graduated from Fort Wayne Central back in 1961. And to the Bryce, I remember your father, your brother, very well. You couldn't miss him, got pictures everywhere. So I'm sorry to wait so late. Should have been done early. Yeah. But I got the call from my grandson, and I was on the floor. I live in West Chicago, and about 3.5 hour drive. My daughter called and said, "Dad, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing some rollers trying to get these muscles working on the floor." She said, "Daddy, Anthony wants you to introduce him." I said, "What?" I said, "Can you get Jerry? Can you get Andrew?" He said, "No, Dad, he wants you." So by the time I wiped all the tears out of my eyes, what an honor. I said, "This is a blessing." You know, my grandson wanted me to introduce him in the Hall of Fame. And this is such a special day for me as much as it is to him. And I also want to thank Pollard for mentioning my friend Prince Chapman. He's one of my best friends. I remember Prince having a truck, picking up the little guys in the football. And he was so passionate about it, to make the guys have training and had little teams. And Pollard was part of those teams. It was a great deal. We're back to Anthony. I'll put a little light in it. When Anthony was born, you know, the nurse come in, and they have the tapes and they measure, see how long he was, see how much he weighed, and how big his head. And the nurse says, "This guy is destined for greatness." My daughter said, "What? What's wrong with him?" The nurse says, "His head's so big." That's so funny. So here it is today. And as we go on today, you know, when I come home from Chicago, and Anthony's about 12 years old, my other grandson said, Granddad, you got to come see Anthony. I said, what's wrong? He said, Anthony lived for 100 pounds. He's 12 years old. He lived in 100 pounds. I said, that is fantastic. And then you fast forward, 10 years later, I go, you know, we play a lot of sports, and we do a lot of pickup games. And I go get the boys, and I take them to the gym. And I play for Central, and I could take anybody down low. So Anthony put his hand in my back. I never told anybody, but I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I couldn't make a move. So I didn't want to let anybody know I couldn't move because he's so damn strong. So about 10 years, 5 more years later, I get this picture in the Journal Gazette. Anthony Spencer, pressing 485 pounds. I said, that's amazing. I said, I know I'm not messing with him anymore. So this has been a long journey for Anthony. He's been a great grandson, and I'm so proud for him. And I'm so proud of my daughter too, because she was a single mom, 4 children, and she's the backbone of Anthony, and she does such a great job. So, Han, I want to thank you for being there for Anthony, doing the job you've done. So Anthony, he got drafted by Dallas, you know. That's when I started drinking. Man, Dallas can't even make a fake handoff without fumbling the ball. So every Sunday, I go get my crown because I know it's going to be a bad day. So Anthony did 8 years with Dallas, then he got transferred to New Orleans, spent a year there, and he went back to Dallas. Dallas called him back. He said, nope, I'm not going back. You should have kept me when you had me. So Anthony, give it up. And now Anthony's a businessman. He's a father. He has a beautiful wife, great children, and I'm so proud of him, you know, to be his granddad. So now I'd like to present you Anthony Spencer.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys doing? I'm gonna keep it short, for real. I just want to say thank you to the Hall of Fame induction committee for thinking about me and putting me into this, and congratulations to the other players being inducted. I got stories about Trey, like he said he was a basketball player, I thought that I was going to be a basketball player growing up, and that's what I wanted to be. I had hoop dreams, to make it to the NBA. But I could just remember having those battles against Trey. I remember one game I fouled out in the first half. I was so mad. I took my shoes off, stormed out the gym. My mom was like, "Don't you ever act like that again." And that's when I knew I had to hang up the basketball, because I had too much emotion going on with that. People could see my face. They could see me. So I gave that up. I really had to give that up to pursue football. Going into my senior year, my grades were never good. I never really applied myself with school because it just didn't matter to me. And things that didn't matter, I didn't give too much interest to. And I mean, football and basketball and all the sports and stuff like that was part of that. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't part of, like, I didn't grow up wanting to be in the NBA or be in the NFL. I didn't watch sports. I was outside playing, like you were saying, like when you were talking about Trey was always outside playing. I was in the woods hanging out with whatever was out there. So that was what I did growing up. So but that game against Trey, I can remember that was probably one of my last games I played. It was my junior year, because my senior year I had to take classes just so I could be eligible to have opportunity to go to Purdue and play. And then with Bernard, I can remember he said that he was a basketball player. Somebody said that, but no, this nigga was a wrestler. He was a wrestler. He ended my wrestling career early. We always had these little cliques in the locker room, and we were getting these little battles or whatnot. And one time, this guy, I don't know what happened. I was wrestling with him. Next thing I know, I was on my back, and then I just sat down. I was like, you know what? I'm not wrestling no more. I'm not doing that stuff. You know what I mean? I knew my role. You know what I mean? I always knew what I was good at and what I could do and what I could not do. So I stuck to that. Stuck to those things. So I just want to say congratulations to all you guys that are being inducted into this Hall of Fame. I mean, it's a true blessing. I mean, I never played the game. I didn't even think about Hall of Fame and all these accolades and things that came along with it. I just like the competition. I like battling and having I feel like that was when my true self came out. It's just when I was on the field playing and having the competition, I didn't really care about how people felt or their feelings or all the stuff that society has us dealing with. But just football was like my piece. Like I could really become my own person. Like I had confidence in what I was doing, how I was doing it, and the respect and admiration that I got from a lot of the families and my family and people that when I played, like I was a quiet kid, so people didn't really hear a lot out of me other than when I was playing football, or competing in sports. So football has just been, I mean, it's changed my life for the better in every single way. Like it's given me knowing commitment and dedication and perseverance. And I can remember after our first game, my sophomore year, I was sitting in the car. Christopher Custer was there, Mike Lito, Cam Johnson. We just got smacked by Northrop. It was it was my very first experience as playing football, because I hadn't played in grade school. I played during our freshman year. We beat everybody. Like we never lost any games. But this is my very first experience as a varsity player. And after the game, we sitting in the parking lot at Burger King, I think it was. We was after the game just talking about what had just happened. We was just like, man, we cannot keep living like this. Like just the loss that happened that night, just the complete, like all the coaches was yelling at us. Like we knew that our year couldn't go like that. So we really started to, I feel like we made a pact with one another, and I feel like that was the biggest and best part of football for me, was like the camaraderie that I had with my teammates and with my coaches and with the families that I played with, the players I played with. Like those people, they opened their houses up to me. They gave me food, air conditioning. Just the life that I saw outside of the life that I was living in my home. Just seeing how life ran in other people's homes and how it was, it gave me perspective of where I really wanted my life to be and really where I wanted to go with my life. And I just want to say thank you to those families and the Bishop Lewis family. I mean, without them, I would not be in the position I am today, I swear. Coach Lindsay, the Coach X, the brothers, those guys, the sayings that they would just preach to us over and over in our practices. I can still hear them, like, just don't get bitter, get better, and or here we grow again today. Like just those little things that they just stuck to me with like glue, and I just carried those teachings throughout my whole entire career. I want to say thank you to the Purdue family as well. Mark Hagan, Joe Tiller, the late Joe Tiller, man. They came to my house. They sat on the couch. It was a very intimidating experience as a young high school athlete, just to have those meetings with the coaches and the people that we talked to during that time. But they really laid it out for me, like where I was. Because as an individual, I feel like we'll give these little lies to ourselves, like I'm doing okay here, I'm doing okay there. But they were the ones that really just kept the truth about where I was and the classes that I had to do and the opportunity that I had in front of me. Like without those two gentlemen, I really don't believe that I would have. I took night classes. I studied for the ACT. I wouldn't have done those things to prepare myself to be able to make it to in the Purdue, to Purdue or on the next level. So a lot of kudos to those guys and my teammates, man. Bernard, like Greg, Kyle, Cuz, Griff, Adam, Steve, like all these guys, man, like football to me during that time, like I was a basketball player. I didn't even want to play football. I played football because my friends were playing football and I ended up being good at it. So I stuck with it. But like the guys that I played with, like those were the reason during that time. Like that was the reason why I was there. My reasons changed over the years that I played, but those guys were the reasons why I played during that time. And I thank you guys for just being around, just always rooting for me and being there for me. That was I can't say really enough about that. I really appreciate you guys. To my family, man. I can remember like my grandfather's mother. Like I'd be going over to my great grandmother. I'd go to her house and she would always be in a room just praying, just always praying. And I feel like those prayers were answered with the line that God set in front of my feet. Like I didn't really do anything. I just walked the path that was set in front of me. So I always stayed committed to what I was doing and why I was doing it, but my family was always the reason behind that. Those were the people that sacrificed for me so I could be in the position that I was. And I really didn't come to see that until, was it my junior year of college? And I went to General Motors, and my mom had worked there for 15 years at the time. I spent 3 weeks, 3 weeks at General Motors, and I was looking for an excuse to get up out of there, looking for one. I'm calling, like, I told my mom, like, my coach is calling. They telling me I got these classes I got to take. I got to go back to school. You know what I mean? So, and that was a week before I had to go back, so I took a whole week off, but that was like the switch for me. Like that changed the whole mentality of my work ethic. You know what I mean? Like I started to lift extra, run extra. Bernard, you was gone by then. And at that same time, like Bernard and those guys getting drafted, like they were like the light that showed me that it was a possibility. You know what I mean? Because him getting drafted in a position that he was getting drafted in, and I work next to these guys. Like I'm with them every single day, so it made me believe that it was a possibility. Because going into that season, going into my senior season, I did the NFL Combine workout, like showing like where you're projected to be drafted, and I was projected to be a 6th-round pick at the time, and I didn't believe it at the time because Bernard, when the 2nd round, one of my good friends, Ray Edwards, went in the 3rd round, Ninkovich, guys that I played with, like I was like, so it put it just was a switch that just changed. It just changed everything. Like the reason why I was working and the check that I got from General Motors when I was working there was barely enough to pay my mom back the money I had borrowed for the week to eat or lunch and dinner for that week. So I was just like, that 9 to 5, it just changed my life. Like those 3 weeks at General Motors really changed my life and the trajectory that I was going on for real. And I just want to thank you, Mom, for just sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, that really showed me what sacrifice was. Like, it wasn't nothing for me to not go hang out with my friends at bars or to go Thirsty Thursday drinking. It was very easy for me to get up at 5 a.m. at that point, because you'll get up at 5 a.m. every single day. I had to do it for 3 or 4 months during the wintertime, but it made the conditioning and everything that I was doing more tangible. Because before, it just seemed like it was just too much, you know what I mean? So, but just that perspective and being in different people's homes and seeing how people lived, and I was always a person that just took everything in. Like, I'm not a big talker. I sit and I listen and I watch and I really just take in what's around me, and I'm just being around the people that I was around, being around my mom, the Millhouses, the Lindsays, the Causeys, I mean, all these different people that just poured into me over my career. I just want to say thank you to all of you, because I would not be here. You guys know who you are if I didn't mention you. But I spent the night at your houses. I ate y'all food. Welcome or unwelcome, you always made me feel welcome. And I want to just say thank you to everybody that just poured into me. And I just want to thank you, the Indiana Football Hall of Fame, again for giving me this opportunity. And that's it. Thank you.